Hello, folks. I'm David, and this is From the Hip podcast. And today we have the beautiful Katie Marie with us. Hello, Katie.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
We always try to have a pretty girl, at least something people can look at and not be repulsed.
It's a good marketing technique.
It is. It is. And there's not many prettier than you, that's for sure.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you.
So you're a full-time model, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing it?
I've been modeling in general or modeling full-time?
Let's do both.
Okay, so modeling, I've been modeling for 13 years. It started whenever I was 12. Modeling full-time, I went full-time February 2022. So I've been full-time for
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Yeah.
Well, so where did you grow up?
I grew up in Tyler, Texas. So not too far. Yeah. So I'm an East Texas girly, born and raised.
I like Tyler area.
You do? Have you been?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I lived at Lake Fork for 7 years. From Tyler, take 69 to not Quitman, but Mineola.
Oh, okay.
And then it's 8 miles west of Mineola.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. One of my really good friends actually got married in Mineola. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a great bass fishing lake there. And
Yes. I believe that's where my dad goes bass fishing. Yes.
Okay, yeah, Lake Fork.
Okay. Very cool.
And I built a house 3 miles from the lake.
Okay.
And I didn't want to own the water. I didn't want the water moccasins
Yeah.
and all the mosquitoes that it tends to come with.
There are a lot of mosquitoes in East Texas.
And with 4 boys, and they were young,
Yeah.
I didn't want them wandering off into the water.
Find a water moccasin and bring it home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So how long were you in Tyler?
Well, so I grew up in Tyler, and I moved to Denton for school whenever I was 18.
East Texas? No, North Texas.
Yes, yeah. So I moved to Denton for school, and then moved to Austin for a year, and then moved back to my parents for a little bit to square some things away, and then moved back to Dallas.
So what did you study at East Texas, North Texas?
So I started with fashion design and fashion merchandising. After about 2 years, realized that design was not for me. Took me a little bit longer than was probably convenient for my finances. The school is expensive. But yeah, I realized that the design portion was not for me. I did not like sewing for 7 hours a day and coming up with designs and then having 3 days to flesh it out completely, or 5 days or 6 days. It was a lot. And my creative brain does not work that quickly. Anyways, dual major with a minor, and now I withdrew at I was like halfway through my junior year, and now I actually just went back to school, and I'm completing my degree with fashion merchandising, just without the design portion.
Okay, without the sewing part of it.
Yeah. So it's all the business and finance side, and like the marketing and everything, and like sourcing. So that I can do easily. So.
So now then, you left school, went to Austin, went back to Tyler for a year with your parents, or were they?
It was like 8 months, almost a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then came to Dallas.
Yes.
So what part of Dallas are you in?
Currently I'm in North Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a hike over here.
Yeah, about half an hour.
Yeah.
Not too bad. I feel like everywhere in Dallas is kind of 25 minutes, 25, half an hour away from each other. So at least where I'm positioned at, everything is about 20 to 30, maybe 40 minutes away.
Well, we met a couple, 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think my first time here, I think actually was shooting with Glenn.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah.
Well, I know you've shot it out of the studio with a lot of photographers
Yes.
over the years.
A lot, yeah.
So you've been traveling a lot this year?
Yeah. Gosh, where all have I traveled this year so far? I've been to LA once. I'm going back to LA. I've been to Denver, Colorado. I've been to Aspen this year. I've been to, where else have I made it to? Oh, I went to Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
A couple other spots that I just can't. I have so much, like, I'm so focused on, like, the next thing that, like, I always forget where I have been. But I have a lot of travels coming up, that's for sure, up until I leave. So I'll be doing Houston again, Austin again. I do Houston and Austin about every other month on
Okay.
a regular basis because I've got, like, friends and family in those areas. So then also kind of two birds with one stone. Get some bookings out
Go
there.
see family,
Right. And
have a
just,
free place to stay,
yes.
free
Makes-
dinners,
Yeah.
and make money.
Exactly. Yeah. Makes it a little bit easier whenever you've got friends, and or family to stay with for sure. But so yeah, I have that, and then at the end of this month, I'm doing Oklahoma, and then I go to New York, New Jersey, all in one trip, and then at the end of September into October, I do LA and the Bay Area, and then October 21st, I leave for Bali.
Well, I'm going to save Bali for last.
Okay.
In all your travels, where has been the most fun place to go?
Aspen.
Okay.
Aspen, Colorado, 100%. It is gorgeous. It is beautiful. It's like a little fairyland, and it's just, you feel like you're in a movie in Bali. It's not in Bali, in Aspen. It's so pretty, and I love it. The weather is amazing. This last time though was really interesting. We got caught in a hailstorm. Well, first it was like a thunderstorm, and then it turned into a hailstorm, and then it stopped and it was sunny again, all within the span of like 15 minutes.
Oh, really?
It was wild. And then, so what we were doing is we were biking everywhere, and then like guerrilla shooting. So we biked
And
up
doing what?
and guerrilla shooting.
What is a guerrilla shooting?
So guerrilla shooting is where you just like you see a spot and you just stop there. And so you just kind of like, you don't really have a plan necessarily going in. You're just kind of like traveling around finding spots.
A vagabond.
Basically, yeah. So that's essentially what we were doing. And yeah, so we had gone up the mountain, got caught in the rain and hailstorm, and then started coming back down, stopped somewhere real quick to shoot. That's a fun story. Actually, a pretty dangerous spot. My partner at the time was not happy whenever he got those behind the scenes pictures. There was a tree trunk, like a big like fallen tree over a river, and in the river there were like whitewater rapids, and me and the other model were standing on the tree trunk over the whitewater rapids. It was really cool though. Definitely worth it.
Unless something had happened and you fell off in the...
Unless that had happened, but it didn't happen, so it was fine. But yeah, so and then on our way back down on the bikes, we were doing the like assisted bikes, so they have like a little bit, they have like a charge, and then it's like
Right.
easier to go
Electric
up.
bike.
The electric ones, yeah. We got caught in the rain going back down the mountain at like 30 miles an hour, and that was wild. Just rain, just like hitting you in the face and
And
going
hurting.
down. And hurting a little bit, yeah, and like one part of my body, the front part of my body was just completely, I was soaked, absolutely soaked, and the back part of me was dry.
What time of year?
This was last month before,
Okay.
yeah.
So it wasn't, 25 degrees and...
Oh, no. So this particular photographer we've worked with before, he's actually there during the summer, spring every year. So, yeah, I would not have been doing that if it were 25 degrees outside. I
So
would have been like, call someone else.
how often have you been to Aspen?
I've been twice. That was my second time. The time before, we were there for, me and the same model, actually, we were there for 10 days the time before. And this time we were only there for 2.5, 3 days.
But summertime the first time?
Yes, yeah. Still summertime. I don't do winter. I don't do the cold. It's not really for me.
You're a warm weather girl?
Yes, I am. I'm a warm weather girly. I like the beach. I like the sunshine, and Cute little summer outfits. I am not a fan of being cold.
Well, I'm not either.
Well, we have that in common then.
Problem is, my wife is hot-natured,
Ah,
and I'm a little on the cold-natured side.
yeah.
So I'm bundled up in the covers, and it's 71 degrees in the house. And she's out from underneath the covers because she's hot, you know.
Yeah. Yep. So that's funny. My house actually stays around like 74, 75. And even then, I'm like, I'm just going to turn the air off. It's too cold.
Well, when you come inside from 95 to 100 degrees, it is cold.
Yes, it is.
You know, it's a
very true.
25, 30 degree drop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm the same way.
Yeah.
She comes in, you know, a few hours before me and goes in, and during the day we keep it at 76.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll turn it down to 74. And I come in 2 hours later, I'm cold. I'll turn it back up to 67.
Yeah.
And yeah, comfort levels.
Got to find the balance there.
So when you went to Aspen, how many different photographers did you shoot with?
So Aspen is actually just one photographer, and he hires us for all the days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he flies us out there. We stay in the Dancing Bear, and then he shoots. He's the only person we shoot with the whole time because he's hiring us for the whole time. Like last year, it was like the full 10 days. We were shooting with him. I think we had 1 or 2 days off where he sent us to go to like the stretch lab, get stretched or get like a massage or something like that, and then back at it the next day. And so yeah, this time it was just, we had like 2 12-hour days back to back. And then in the evening, we went down and got like a massage and stuff and sat in like the sauna and relaxed.
But isn't that an unusual case, one photographer when you're traveling?
Not necessarily unusual. I actually have quite a few people that will fly me out to wherever they are to shoot for like a full day. It's usually not like 10 days or 2 or 3 days, usually just like a full day. But I would say for me personally, it's not abnormal, but in a whole, yes, that's not the normal thing. That's not what's happening every time. 'Cause usually my travel trips, I'm shooting with anywhere from 5 to 17, 20 photographers.
Okay. For 2 or 3 hours per photographer?
Yep.
Okay. Well, it keeps you really busy sometimes, doesn't it?
Very. Yeah.
Now, if you're going to a city on your own, do you drive or fly?
It depends.
On the distance, of course.
Right. Typically fly though. So obviously like the east and west coast, I'm flying. Really anything that seems too far out of like a comfortable driving distance, I'm gonna fly. So the furthest that I've driven is New Orleans.
Okay,
And
8
that's
hours.
8-hour drive, yeah. Aside from that, I haven't really done much driving just because I don't want to.
Well,
That's pretty much all. I just don't want to. I don't want to do all the driving. I know a lot of travel models do that, and I feel like I would be gone for a lot longer, and I would spend more time. And to me, I actually have run the numbers, and it makes more sense to actually fly there and book as many people in a certain amount of time and fly back than it does to drive and pay for the gas. And then if you're on the road for a month, then that's a month's worth of hotel stays that you're paying for.
so are you normally on the road for 3 or 4 weeks?
No. So I do mine typically a Thursday through Monday trip once a month, once to twice a month, maybe 3 times, just depends. But I book, so the way that I do it is I schedule out my year in advance where I do, okay, I'm going to go to this place this month, this place this month, and each month has at least one out-of-state trip. And then I go back through and I go, okay, so I have these dates for this, and then I'm going to look at places I can drive to. And so then I'll do a drive trip once a month.
Austin,
Houston, San Antonio, Oklahoma, those places once a month. And so I'll do 1 or 2 of those once a month as well. And then as the year progresses, what I find is that either I end up extending trips or end up adding things in because I have a lot of demand in a certain area. And so, yeah, just kind of towards the end of the year, it becomes real hectic.
Do you, when you're planning your yearly travel schedule, do you pick it because of certain photographers that are wanting to shoot you? Or do you pick going to a location because it's Aspen and you want to go to Aspen because Aspen's a cool place?
I pick it purely based off of demand.
Okay.
Yeah, and I try to do the colder areas in the summer and then the warmer areas in the winter. Typically, the only month that I found so far that I don't really travel or do much of any traveling is in January. January, I find, is like really busy locally. And it's just kind of like also like a good like reset first of the year. And then like February through December, I'm booked out somewhere else.
So what has been your best travel experience?
Ooh. In the sense of like bookings or like having fun or just in general?
Having fun.
I would honestly like the Aspen trips. Yeah.
Okay.
The Aspen trips are a blast. I mean, because the guy that we shoot with, he's a crazy fella. He is crazy in the best way. But I mean, he's what I like to call a bored billionaire. He's not a billionaire, he's a millionaire, but he's bored, he has money to spend, and so he does. And so we get pretty much pampered the entire time that we're there. I mean, we're staying in the best spot. We're seeing the sights, we're hiking. Last time we were there last year, we didn't have the right shoes, so he bought us these really nice hiking shoes. We're eating literally the best food. I mean, Aspen itself is expensive, but Aspen has some of the most amazing food. And what makes a good trip for me is good food personally. If
I know you look like a real foodie.
I am, though. I am. It just doesn't stick. But yeah, and so we bike, and last time we were there, we drove up the mountain. It was terrifying. I'm not sure how we stayed on this teeny tiny little roadway up the mountain, but we did.
Not really a road, but a path.
Yeah, up the side of the mountain. It was exhilarating, to say the least, but just lots of adventure within those trips in general, beautiful sights to see. Yeah, those are probably like the funnest trips. I would say the other one would be this a duo photographer, two friends hired me, and again, same model actually. We've done a lot of travel trips together.
Who is the model?
Alyssa Mayo.
Okay. She local?
Yeah. Jim Shannon shoots her all the time here.
Okay.
Yeah. She's got really long, dark, curly hair.
Okay, yeah.
Just green eyes. But yeah, they hired us for a 4-day trip for the Sierras, in the Sierra Mountains in California. And that one, it was a lot of work. It was like wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get to the spot leave by 4, get to the spot by 4:30 so that we can be there when the sun is coming up and be set up and just wait for the sun. And one of the spots that we stopped at that was really, really cool, there are actually two, but my favorite one was a natural hot spring. And we went, it was technically in the summer, but it was still chilly because we're in the mountains. And so it was probably 40 degrees outside, and we were just in and out of the hot spring shooting. It was really cool. We have the sun, and then it's steamy from the cold and the hot spring coming, and really, really cool trip. And kind of the same thing. We just kind of drove around and then walked around, did a little bit of hiking, stopped here and there, and shot what we needed to.
Okay. Your worst experience traveling?
Oh, that's easy. So my first ever travel trip, I made the mistake of not setting any boundaries, which is what I try to teach people and tell, especially new models. But like in my coaching that I do, we discuss boundaries and why they're important, and the story is one of the reasons why they're important. So it was a photographer out of Austin, and I'm going to leave his name out of it and his tag and everything. But we were meeting in Miami, and the deal was he's going to pay for everything. In exchange, I'm going to trade. So we're just going to do a couple shoots, and then I also had other shoots booked in Miami, but he was accommodating everything. And younger guy, ended up, all of my shoots for some reason canceled, drop off the face of the earth. Never heard from them again. Like, it was really, really strange. Miami is like that in my experience. Unfortunately, they can just be kind of flaky.
Not a fan of Miami, even though it is, warm.
Yeah, not a fan. I would rather do like Orlando or Tampa or something like that, or Jacksonville. But Miami itself, for vacation is great, but for work, it's just hard. It's a hard place to work for sure, from a model perspective. But so we went and met him there. I was there for 4 days, and since all of my shoots canceled, I was like, I don't have anything to do. And he's like, well, I'm just going to like this like little party thing he's there for like a Bitcoin conference. And so there's a bunch of different Bitcoin events and stuff. And he's like, well, you're welcome to just like tag along with me to these things. And I was like, okay, sure. Like, I don't have anything else to do.
Did you go by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of the traveling that I do is by myself. But yeah, so I guess towards the end of the trip, he was just feeling extra comfortable, like too comfortable with me, and I had been way too friendly or something. I'm not sure. But he ended up, night before I was leaving, I told him, okay, I'm going to go downstairs, and he had like a thing to go to, and he's like, oh, like, can I come? And I was like, sure, I'm just going to grab dinner, and then go like walk around Ocean Boulevard, because we were staying at the Ritz-Carlton, so like right off of Ocean Boulevard. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So he comes down, we're sitting there, blah, blah, whatever. And some lady walks by and is like, oh, you guys are a cute couple. And I'm like knee deep in eating my salad. And so I'm not paying attention. I'm just like, yeah, sure, like, thanks, whatever. And so I was like, oh, thanks. And she leaves and then comes back and says something. And he's like talking to her or whatever. And then whenever he's like, oh, my Uber is here, he gets up to leave, comes over. I think he's going in for just like a side hug, like he's been doing the whole time, just like little side hug. No, this man leans down, kisses me.
Ah.
And I was like, "Por qué? What?" And I was like, that was super uncomfortable. Maybe it was a joke. So later on in the evening, he's already back at the hotel by the time I like go up, and I'm wearing like sweater, sweatpants, fuzzy socks, completely covered, thank God. And in the morning, I hear him come back in, like the door closes, and I'm like barely waking up. My eyes are opening like a newborn freaking puppy. And I just like look over and I see him like beeline towards my bed. Get in my bed and scoot over to try and cuddle with me. And I turned over, I said, this is uncomfortable. What are you doing? And he's like, oh my God, I didn't mean to. I didn't blah, blah. And I was like, no, I was like, okay, I'm going to go take my morning shit. I'm like, going to try and make this the least sexy as possible. Like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. This is weird. So then as I'm in there, he like knocks on the door and he's like, hey, like, I'm going to go down to the beach and like watch the sunrise or whatever if you want to come. And I was like, okay, bye. Just like, please leave. And so I'm like, this is super strange, whatever. So I come out of the bathroom and I'm like figuring out what I'm going to wear, and I'm going through my bag. So I also was leaving later this day, thankfully. And then I turn and look, and where I saw him come in and like set his stuff down, David, I see a nanny cam pointed at my bed. A little tiny nanny cam pointed at my bed. And I was like, no freaking way. This is not happening to me right now. This is not happening. I was like, what the fuck? And so I go over and I'm just like next to it and I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is pointed straight at my bed. This is wild. pick it up. It is recording. It has
You
been
put it
recording.
in your purse?
No, I flipped it over. I was like, what the fuck? And it had black tape along where like the little red light would be. He had covered that up. So he was trying to be sneaky. It had been recording for the past 8 minutes. I just turned it around and I was like, what the fuck? So what I did was I got dressed in the bathroom, went downstairs to the front desk, and I told the lady at the front desk, I said, look, I'm here on a business trip. I'm sharing a room with my business partner, the person that's hired me to be here. I don't know this person very well. Here's what he did. I found a nanny cam, whatever. I'm going to confront him. Here's my contact information in case I die. And also here's my parents' number, whatever, because like I don't put anything past anyone to try. And so I was fully prepared to physically fight this man. And so I go set up breakfast. I set up breakfast for probably an hour and a half, like calling my friends and like trying to figure out. I'm like, took a picture of the front and back of the camera so like I have evidence, and I'm Googling like the type of camera that it is, trying to figure out like exactly whatever. And go back up there. He's already back in the room, and he was like out on the balcony, and from the balcony you can see exactly where I was sitting at breakfast. And I was like, this is so creepy. This just keeps getting worse. And so I'm like, he's like, oh, are you ready to shoot? And I'm like, yeah, not yet. And I was like, so this camera was like on and pointed at my bed. And he's like, oh, no, it's not on. No. And it picks it up and looks at it and like obviously turns it off and sets it aside. He's like, I've had it the whole time. Like it's for a part of our shoot. And I was like, okay. So then I like get in the shower, and I'm taking the world's longest shower.
Right out of hot water?
World's longest shower. I'm just like, how much time can I
Stall.
Right. How much time can I stall? And he's like, hey, are you almost ready? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I start doing my makeup, and I'm like texting my friends. I'm like, fuck. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is a super uncomfortable situation. And then the phone rings in the room, and he couldn't answer it or whatever, puts it on speaker, and I hear the lady say, hey, like, we have an issue with your card. Can you come down? And he comes, and he's like, did you put anything in the room? I was like, just breakfast. Like, I just got breakfast. And he was like, okay. And he goes down, and then a few moments later, there's a knock at the door, and it is the Miami police and security for Ritz-Carlton. And I open the door, and I'm so nervous, and I just lean against it in my robe, and I was like, I've been waiting for y'all. They were like, you look real comfortable. And I was like, what do you want me to do? Freak out? Like, I'm gonna utilize my humor in this situation to get through it. Like, what? Did you expect to see me, like, bawling my eyes out on the ground, on the floor? Like, no. So a whole case was opened. I don't know what happened because they never got back to me. I tried calling multiple times and I couldn't get anyone to call me back. But ultimately he got detained and I got escorted to the airport.
Well, all's well that ends well, huh?
Yeah. And let's just say I never shared a hotel room with a man ever again.
Yes, that's
So,
a good idea.
yeah. So, yeah, that's my story.
So, you do model coaching.
Yes, I do.
Do you do it in person or?
I do. I have two options. I have an in-person option, and then I also have a Zoom option. So I do it over Zoom, share my screen. I've got like a whole like PowerPoint situation. And then I also do just like individual like consultation calls. So people can book, just like if they just have like a couple questions or whatever, they can book a consultation call. Just that single one. And then I also have people that book me for their photo shoots to coach them during a photo shoot.
Okay.
As well as the other option is like kind of similar to that, but like I've had photographers book me for a chunk of time just with them one-on-one about like how to pose and coach your clients. So basically they become the model and I coach them so that they understand how it feels and also how to verbally manipulate their clients into, the pose. So
Okay.
bunch of different options.
Now, the big question that everybody's dying to know. Bali.
Yes. So,
Tell us about Bali.
okay. So this opportunity actually came up at the beginning of the year. A friend of mine is signed in 7 different countries, and he is. So your question earlier, like it's for a guy, it's not for a guy, but my friend David is there. David is a very successful model, a model coach as well, and he is helping me in the process of expanding to other countries and just kind of a different formula than what I already do. So essentially, the opportunity is that he's there. I can go and stay with him for a little bit. And then I reached out to the agencies back in, I think, January, February, and they're interested in me. So I'm going to go over there, sign with the agencies, and work that country essentially. And then maybe hop to the next country, because the other place that I have a lot of interest is Australia. And the reason for this is, number one, I get to travel the world and see what other places have to offer and experience that, experience being out of the country for an extended amount of time in a safe way because I'm with a friend. And I also know his brother who has lived there for, I think, 6 years now. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening. I'm doing the same thing, just a little bit different, and I'm going to be there for a long time. There's a lot of work in the area, and what I do and like my look fits that market, as opposed to here in Texas. My look doesn't fit the Texas market. I don't have blonde hair and blue eyes and all that. So I don't, like, if you look at the boards, the model boards for the agencies here, I don't match the clientele, like what the clientele is looking for. And you can always see that from the agency boards. But in Bali, I do.
So, and there's agencies in Bali, or the U.S. agencies?
No, there are Bali agencies, yeah. So every
Okay.
country. So obviously there's a few that are U.S. that are like worldwide, right? One of those is going to be like Wilhelmina, and then like IMG. But then each country also has like their own agencies that are within just that country too. So the goal is start in Bali, get my experience, get my feet wet being in another country and modeling in another country and making that move. Ultimately, I'm moving there for a few months, and then wherever else the wind takes me, we'll see what happens. But I think from there, I might end up in like Thailand for sure, and Australia, because it's easier to, if you're stationed in like Bali, it's easier to hop to those other like closer countries while you're there. So that's the plan.
That'll be really interesting.
I'm very excited.
Are you going by yourself?
I am. Yep.
Are you going to carry a gun with you, perhaps?
I don't know if you're able to carry a gun into Bali, but Bali is a very safe area. I'm not particularly worried about it. And like I said, I mean, I know someone else, so I won't be. But I'm actually staying in the same villa as him, so I'm not planning on taking my 9mm with me. But I probably will be taking pepper spray, taser. I do have to look into the laws of those things because they're different everywhere. In some countries, it's illegal to carry weapons like that. But I do know how to fight, so.
Carry brass knuckles, yeah.
Exactly. There you go. Good to go there. So, yeah.
So when do you leave?
October 21st.
Okay, so.
It's coming up.
Yeah, was that 68 days, something like that?
Yeah. Yep.
And you bought a one-way ticket, not two-way.
I did, yeah. Bought a one-way ticket.
Well,
I've already bought my my little villa, so that I'll be staying in. That's already purchased and ready to go for 5 weeks. And yeah, I'm currently trying to sell a lot of the things out of my house, and then the biggest issue that I've had, or I guess the biggest kind of hurdle, is figuring out do I want to get rid of my apartment or not? Because what if something happens and I need to come back or whatever? And essentially, the conclusion I've come to is it's going to be really hard to maintain two households, and there will always be another apartment that I can get.
Yes.
And if I do come back, I know there will be a period that I'll be back for a little bit longer. My best friend is getting married, so I'll be in for her bachelorette party and her wedding. But that's not until May. March is her bachelorette, and then May is her wedding. So I'll probably be here maybe be back for that chunk of time. And I mean, I've got family in different areas, so I'm not super worried about it.
So when you come back, you become Katie Marie International Model.
Yes, exactly.
Good. So for the folks that haven't shot you or want to shoot you again in the next 68 days, we're counting down, folks. How do they get hold of you?
Either Instagram, Facebook, or by email.
Well, let's tell us what they are slowly
Okay.
and spell them.
All right, so my Facebook is Katie Marie Gaudin, KatieMarieGaudin. And then my Instagram is katie.marie.gaudin, katie.marie.gaudin. And then my email can be found on both of those. So you can find my email through there. Shoot me an email if that works better for you.
Okay. We all be sure and reach out to Katie before she's gone.
Yeah. I may not come back.
Well, we hope. We'll
See.
Must be all nice and tan. Who knows?
Probably, yeah. Probably so.
Well, great. Katie, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.
And do you have anything you'd like to tell the audience before we cut this out?
Yeah, if anyone is interested in any coaching, please reach out. You can reach out via those platforms and email me as well. I offer a full 6-week program, or like I said, individual, just one-on-one consultations for whatever questions you may have, especially if you're looking into getting started and your modeling career full-time.
I got one story I'll tell you.
Yeah.
When I first started in photography, a long time ago, somebody I worked for, they had a daughter, and asked me to come out to their house on Lake Worth and take pictures of their daughter. It was about 13. And so I did. They submitted them to Wilhelmina's, and she got hired by Wilhelmina's,
Nice.
started her career working for Wilhelmina's everywhere, modeling, and went on to film.
Very cool.
And her stage name is Janine Turner.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I know that name.
Oh yeah, she was Northern Lights, I think. She was one of the major actors in it,
Okay.
and
Okay. Very cool.
my only claim to fame as a photographer. But I did
You got her started.
I did her initial portfolio.
That's
Yes.
very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was fun.
That's cool.
All
I'll
right,
have to look her
folks.
up.
Same time, same station. One day later, whenever. Thank y'all.
Thank you, David.